Welcome to your Daily 5 for Thursday, March 6th, 2025. I talked a little while back about the fact, when we were reviewing Return of the Living Dead 3, I had mentioned that during the screening where the two of us were watching it, Lando and I purchased the Blu-Ray. One of the reasons I was really excited to get it, not only just to support the film because I thought it was really good, but I was looking forward to listening to the commentary track on the disc with the main star, Melinda Clarke, credited in that movie as Mindy Clarke. And when I got it, I did not realize, although this at first didn't seem to be concerning to me, that she was actually doing the commentary track with another individual who I think has since passed. I think he died of a heart attack pretty young. But I think he is credited as a visual effects supervisor, and he may have done some second unit direction. I'm not entirely sure on that. But anyway, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce the last name right. Tom Ranione, that might be it. But in any event, the commentary started up because that's what I want to do, was watch the movie with the commentary, and I'm listening to it. And after a while, it became unlistenable. I really cannot overstate the amount of disappointment that I got to with this thing as I was listening to it. I made it about halfway through, and maybe not even quite to the halfway point, and I simply could not keep listening to it because this individual, the Tom Ranione, simply was one of the most, I can't even describe how terrible it was to listen to this person talk about his politics as opposed to the movie being watched. And what made it even worse is if you do listen to this commentary, you will hear Melinda Clarke trying to steer the discussion back to the movie multiple times. And in fact, there are points where, and I don't know what her familiarity with this individual was or wasn't. I can't speak to that. It may have been that she was, okay with some of the stuff he was saying, which was just grossly sexist stuff. Not even funny to any degree, but just unnecessarily sexist things about, women in general. I'm not even going to get into it, but it really just became horrifying to listen to because, putting aside the politics, I don't even really care about the man's politics. I don't. But they didn't have anything to do with the movie. There were one or two times where it intersected with movies in general. And in fact, the irony was, when he was talking about some of the censorship risks at the time the movie was made and some of the things that were being talked about, those things I actually agree with. The idea that violent movies, video games, music could make people into murderers. Well, of course that's nonsense. And if it had been that, and it had been related to the movie and some of the challenges of making the film, which again, once or twice it was, but then it would spiral off into just larger kind of, we're not going to be able to be free people anymore. The kind of stuff you hear a lot of lately in the United States, but in Bonkersville, not with any type of reason kind of discussion or again, tying it back to the movie. And in fact, at multiple points, and this was the last straw thing, he kept cutting off Melinda Clarke, who was trying to talk about the making of the movie and what her role was and how they were doing makeup. And he would just cut her off or talk over her. And I finally just said, I don't want to listen to this. This is not amusing. It was probably one of the worst commentary experiences I've ever heard because it wasn't about the movie. And again, it's not even that I'm necessarily saying that I don't care what the man's politics were. That's not why most people listen to these, unless it is an overtly political film. Don't get me wrong, all art is political, but not all art is overtly political. Not all art is all about politics. So if I hear Spike Lee doing a commentary for Do the Right Thing and he's talking about racial tensions, that makes sense. That's what the movie's about. But we're talking about a zombie Romeo and Juliet flick in this case. Do I really want to hear or need to hear about how the best time we've ever had in this country was when Reagan was president? I don't know what that has to do with the movie. There is no mention of Reagan in it, and there's no direct correlation to the movie's plot. So it really just bums me out because I was so excited to hear this thing. And when I got to hear Melinda Clarke speaking in between this other guy's ranting, and he's drinking, he talks about it, you can hear him drinking, which I'm sure contributed to this. It was actually interesting to hear her perspective because it was about the movie. So I hate to tell you, but if you buy this thing hoping you'll get a good commentary with Melinda Clarke, it ain't here. Instead, you're going to hear her trying to talk over somebody who's being obnoxious, and that's a damn shame. Later.